Audio Jungle.
Colleagues, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to today's meeting. We are honored to have with us Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, who has graciously accepted our invitation to brief the Senate on the status of the government tax reform policies. This meeting is both timely and crucial, knowing the fact that the executive have submitted 4 executive bills to do with tax reform in the country. As tax reform lies at the heart of the government's agenda for fostering economic growth, improving revenue generation, and ensuring sustainable development, as policymakers, we recognize the importance of a transparent, efficient, and inclusive tax system that supports national development without overburdening citizens or businesses. We look forward to hearing from the chairman about the progress, challenges, and future plans of the FIRS in implementing these reforms. This briefing will not only inform us of the current state of affairs, but will also offer an opportunity to align our legislative efforts with the broader goals of the tax reform. I encourage my distinguished colleagues to engage actively, ask pertinent questions, and offer constructive inputs as we work together towards building a more resilient economy. Once again, we thank the chairman for his time and dedication to this important task. With that, I now invite the executive chairman of FIRS to proceed with his briefing. Thank you.
Because if I look at the last 9 months with your support, I remember when we were here to defend our budget and you set the target for us. You are not only set target for us then, you also gave us what we need to meet our targets. So I appreciate you. And also in this new journey that Mr. President started, and I know that Mr. President has never taken your support for granted. So just to go specifically to what I am to brief on today, which is the update on the tax reform. You will all recall that in August last year, Mr. President set up Presidential Task Force on tax reform and fiscal policy. One of the mandates of the committee set up by Mr. President is to, after wide consultation, to harmonize our taxes, to reduce multiplicity of taxes, and also to ease the administration of tax laws in order to fund the growth of Nigeria economy as he put it together in a Renew Hope agenda. And after 1 year, to be specific, in August, the committee has put their plan together, well reviewed, and Mr. President, in order to give power to
Copies, let them.
so they can just do the copy.
Give that gentleman to go and photocopy. Come. Take one and collect so that you can go and photocopy. Hurry up.
So one of the mandates of the committee set up by Mr. President is to put the tax law and tax administration that we believe will help us to power the growth of Nigeria economy as put together in Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President. So the rationale behind the new tax law and reform set up by Mr. President is one, harmonization of tax laws. Today, before the reform, we have our tax law scattered in many books. or many acts. So you have education tax, you have VAT, you have them severally, and that was the source of multiplicity of taxes that people talks about, because they all have law which must be implemented. So when you have it in your own law that you must collect this type of levy or taxes, you have to do it, and that is what led to multiplicity of taxes. Mr. President, in his wisdom, wants us to harmonize all this, so we have it in one codified book, so that we can remove those multiplicity. The second rationale behind is to drive efficiency and modernization. And I will be specific in this. Today, the tax, stamp duty tax law that we use today is Stamp Duty Act of 1939. Then there was no internet, there was no this kind of technology. So in order to be effective and efficient, we need to bring this to modernization. Another rationale is to simplify laws and ensure synergy across revenue collection agencies. Today, as you may be aware, that even by budget target, you have more than 62 MDA in one way or the other collecting whether levy or taxes. And then this one has increased the cost of collection, one, also the cost of compliance. Because if you are to respond, whether you are business, you are government, to almost 62 kind of agency in one way or the other collecting, Mr. President believes that this will not help, and then in order to harmonize this and make sure that we have a centralized, so to say, or harmonized collection system that will take this burden off us. Not only that, one of the rationale behind this is also to increase efficiency and effectiveness in both government spending and also savings. And this we can see from what we've seen in TSA. Before TSA implementation, we used to have many accounts that government will have money in one bank and be borrowing in another bank. But with simplification of TSA, where you put everything together, it helps government to know and to have that holistic view of wherever the revenue or the savings are. Another rationale behind this is to promote transparency and integrity in revenue collection. Also, we need to update our tax law to represent our current reality. And second to the last is to align with international standard, because we said we want our tax to GDP to be 18%, as it is done in South Africa and other countries. But what are the fundamental changes that made that thing happen in other places that we are copying? So in order to align ourselves in good terms with this international standard, that is one of the reasons. And the last, which is major, is to broaden our tax base. It is Mr. President's interest never to increase tax rates or to introduce another type of taxes. That his focus is just grow the pie. And then when we increase efficiency and effectiveness, so we don't need to increase tax rates, we just need to broaden the tax base. So those are the principles that we'll consider before Mr. President send this reform to the National Assembly. Now, what are the guiding principles that we have? One is simplicity. We want our law to be simple, that everybody can just read, and neutrality of taxes, meaning that we want people to pay their only fair share of the benefits. As Mr. President has said time without number, that he is interested in taxing the prosperity, not the poverty. He is interested in taxing the fruit, not the seed. He is interested in taxing returns, not investments. So for us to be able to do this, we need to modernize the way we apply this. Also, it's competitiveness, because we are in a global village. The investment we are looking for, Nigeria is not only destination. They compare us with others. So we need to bring our tax up to date so that we can aid our competitiveness. Another reason is certainty of taxes. Because when law is clear, people know what to do, and if they don't do it, they know the consequence. So, and that is what drives the compliance. So those are the guiding principles that we put together. Now, having said that, and then put together in Mr. President's Renew Hope agenda, what are the structure through which this reform is to be carried? And that is why currently the 4 bills you have before the distinguished senators are structured in such a way that I will analyze now. One is Nigeria tax bill. And what is the purpose of this bill is to harmonize all tax laws that we have in different books as it were today, put them together and put them in one book. So it becomes the only source of reference for all tax law that we have in Nigeria. That one will remove multiplicity, it will remove duplication, and then it will increase the certainty and understanding and harmonization of our tax law. The second one is Nigeria Tax Administration Act. This is the bill that will guide the application, interpretation, and administration of tax law that we put in one document. And the third one under the structure is Nigeria Revenue Services. This act bill is proposed to repeal and replace Federal Inland Revenue to Nigeria Revenue Services. And what and why this? Today we say Federal Inland Revenue, meaning that we collect money for federal. But if you look at the total collection that we do today, just less than 20% of our collection is actually for federal government. The biggest part that we collect, if you take oil and gas away, is VAT. 85% of this VAT goes to state. So when you say federal inland, the name is not in line with actually what we are doing. When you say inland, by all definition, meaning that you collect money that you have only in Nigeria. But because of this global online charging that we're doing, today we have to open accounts abroad to actually collect those online charges that is due to us here in Nigeria. Just to harmonize what we do with what we should be called. So that's why the Nigeria Revenue Service Bill sent by Mr. President is just to represent what we do, that we are revenue collection agency of the Federation. And then you have the last one, which is Joint Revenue Board, which is Joint Tax Board. As we all know that we operate in a federation environment, meaning that you have states and you have federal government. And because we are in the same economy, so there is need for us to have a strong joint revenue board where both the states and federal government we have equal representation, and all matters that interrelate between the states and federal government can be amicably resolved in that law. So to summarize, these are the 4 bills presented in order to carry out Mr. President's agenda. Now, if I am to go to put it into more detail, and then because I want to give time for question, because this is just top-line analysis that we are doing today. I know we will soon do public hearing where we take clause by clause. But just to put it in real structure, so people understand the essence, I will take it one by one. So Nigerian tax bill, what is the scope? The scope is very simple. It's for us to consolidate all type of taxes that we pay today into one book. And what is the objective? Is to eliminate all intended multiple taxation that we have today. And why I explained it that one earlier, because you have different tax law hidden in different books, and this law must be followed. People must follow it. And that is why you have this multiple, because it is very difficult for one agency to check what other agencies do or what is in their law before they implement their law. So we have some unintended multiple taxation that we will remove. That is the objective. And then to make Nigeria economy more competitive, like I've said, that Nigeria is not only destination of investment. People compare where they will get best return of their investment, and they do that. And then what is the structure that we have for that? It contains all the charging provisions that we can have, and then taxes on petroleum operation harmonized into the same chapter. And then the proposed law have different chapters for different type of taxes. And the objective of this is to provide simple, readable, and easily understandable tax rules, and also to promote ease of administration and reduce tax compliance burden, and to promote ease of doing business in Nigeria. That is just summary on Nigeria tax law. And then all the tax incentives, they are all codified to be one. Today you have Pioneer being administered Ministry of Trade, you have Exports incentive Ministry of Finance. So you have them scattered, which has not given us the best benefit that we are looking for. So to prevent the loss of revenue and to protect small businesses, we put all these together in Nigeria tax law. And the same thing goes for personal income tax. All these we put together, and including the employment income, all taxes that we have differently today have been put together into this one, including value added tax. All these we put in the law to also incorporate all the e-invoicing, internet-based charging, all these online charges. We don't have law, including what, by God's grace, the cryptocurrency that is we cannot actually run away from now. Today we don't have any law that we can use to actually charge what we need. All those things, it is what we put together in that one. And the second one is Nigeria Tax Administration Bill. What is the scope? It's consolidating administrative provisions for all taxes, and also to harmonize all tax administration issues, registration, filing, payments, dispute resolution for all relevant revenue. And the objective of this is to harmonize administrative provision for all taxes and streamline tax administration processes across tax jurisdiction for ease of compliance. And then the structure, payment of tax, when should you pay, and then to promote ease of tax payment, and also to lessen pressure on forex. Because here also, we've also included that the tax should or will be paid in Naira. And then if you have change. And then you have the other one, which is Joint Revenue Board. Like I explained, we are running a federation system in Nigeria. So there is need for us to have law-backed structure where we can resolve disputes that involve both the states and federal government. And that is the scope and the objective of this. Like I explained, the last one is just change of name in Nigeria Revenue Services. We just want to bring that one, use law to back what we've been doing today. We are doing far, far more than what is for federal government. We focus on federation revenue, and that is the essence, and that is the plan that we have in place. So just to put a stop for the question, so what are the benefits if all these are done? One is enhanced tax efficiency. Two is that compliance will definitely be increased. And why? Because the law is simple, everybody can read it, and then there is no ambiguity. And it also brings the real reality that we have as of today. For example, if you look at personal income tax as to whether people can collect dollar in Nigeria, whereas today, because of the global nature of the world, you can be in Nigeria and be working for Amazon in anywhere. So before, it is illegal to collect that dollar in Nigeria. So all these things that we brought up to actually express and take into consideration the reality of Nigeria today, and also to strengthen institutions and then to actually stimulate the economy. So I will stop here for questions, and then if there is further clarification, because this is just a top-line analysis, and I need to just put it here that this is purely revenue economic stimulant activities. So the intention is not to match any agency to take the job of agency, no, it's just to make the job of all agencies easier. As we all know, the multiplicity of taxes is not what Mr. President wants. Too much body is not what Mr. President wants. Mr. President wants each of all these agencies to be able to be empowered to be able to deliver their call mandate. So thank you, distinguished Senator, for listening, and then I will stop now for any clarification.
To be able to acquaint ourselves with whatever new policies, tax policies that are being proposed. This is not a public hearing about any bill at the moment. What we call the executive chairman is to brief us to understand exactly what we are about to start looking at, and then should also give us a insight of the role FIRS is likely to play in the whole setup, which I'm very sure with his little explanation we've been able to understand. For the 4 bills which we have not yet received at the committee secretariat, because it was just the vote and proceedings were just read. They will commit it to us today, and then we will give, it has been gazetted already, we will give a copy to each of the distinguished senators, and then we will now give some days, because of the volume of the bills, we will give each member of the committee some time to study, and then we will also engage some consultants that will look at all these bills on our behalf as well, so that after individual study of the bills, the consultants will also come up with their own reports, advice, or otherwise on the bills. Then we can. But at this junction, I think I will give my distinguished colleagues the opportunity to raise any question that they have. For me, I wouldn't have any question to ask on the bills because I've not read the bills yet. But so by the time I go and peruse the bills, I will be able to raise questions and where necessary. So I will leave the floor to my distinguished colleagues if there's any. No, nobody has seen the bill, but if you have any observation in respect, excuse me. If any colleague has any comment, remark, question as regards to what the chairman have explained to us, I think we are at liberty to do it. So, Senator Danduze.
Your job simpler and easier because he has explained it. You are not charging any new tax. Nobody's paying any new tax. That is the fundamental thing we are living here with. That these reforms are not going to impose additional tax on anybody. That is clear. Secondly, I know that these are some of the product of the Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms. So, and I want to commend that committee and commend you, and by extension, Mr. President, for all the initiatives in the tax regime. Because it is now that we're about to see the benefit of that committee that is set up. But the most important thing I want to say is that this committee, why can't we bring all these things like PIA? When we did the Petroleum Industry Act, it becomes one omnibus document. So instead of 4 Bs, we can have one document that will be a tax reform document. By the time you hold that document, everything about tax in Nigeria is contained in that document. I think this is where we should be heading to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator.
One of the most misunderstood agencies of federal government today in Nigeria is Federal Inland Revenue Service. And why is it so? Because the narrative is being changed. And because the narrative is being changed, you are perceived negatively, rightly or wrongly. And the crux of it is because Nigerians are less informed. And that's the angle that Senator Otikalu came on, and I am emphasizing it. There is every need that maybe a special purpose vehicle from your own organization be put in place to create that needed and required level of education and enlightenment for the citizens to understand. You can imagine, even us at this end, imagine the comment of our colleague. The perception is you are increasing taxes left, right, and center. So both in English, in Yoruba, in Hausa, in Igbo, there must be deliberate attempt to educate and enlighten Nigerians on the focus, because I don't want to talk about the olden days, but since my political life started, I don't think any administration before now raised the much as revenue, the much you have done. And so you must be encouraged. You must be encouraged. And then secondly, like Osita said, even on our side here, if you give us 4 different documents, the time to read, comprehend, and do the needful may not be there, because maybe by the time I finish reading document A, before I get to B, 1 or 2 things come in between, like that. But if you put them in one document, we'll read everything. That becomes our tax Bible or our tax Quran, so that continuously. And then finally, you must be forthcoming. Thank you.
Having listened to the presentation by the chairman for comments and questions to the observed, Mr. Chairman, you are doing the right thing. First of all, I want to commend the chairman and your officers, because from all available reports, it seems your organization is doing very well, and the country's revenue, collectible revenue, especially non-oil revenue, which is what will underpin economic recovery and development, seems to be going on. And so I think you need to be commended. Having said that, Chairman, you have rightly pointed out that we are yet to be given copies of the bills. If and when we do receive copies and we study it, we may have further interactions. Members will read it to inform our debates at the general principles. But, Mr. Chairman, I think what you have arranged is very good, because it's good that we are hearing from the chairman and his team directly on these bills. We read about it. I read about it and I was wondering. But it seems to me, listening to the chairman's presentation, that these bills are not, you are not introducing fresh taxes by these bills. Yes, I think that should be clear. I don't think you were clear enough on that point, which I think was what informed my good friend Senator Danbush's comments. So you are not, to the best of my knowledge and from what you are nodding. So I think that point should be underscored, so that Nigerians should understand that what you are seeking to do, firstly, is to harmonize tax legislations in the country and to simplify tax administration. That's what you are seeking to do. So you are putting all tax laws and you have categorized them into 4. Well, I have looked at when we have the bills and when we have the public hearing, and with the expert opinions and consultant views, we will even see if all these bills you are even presenting can be part of one tax bill, but in different categories and sections, but of a major bill. I support that. I support the codification. Once you have clarified that you are not, by these bills, imposing new taxes on the Nigerian people. That has been clarified. So I thank you for what you are doing. And Mr. Chairman, I look forward to receiving these bills so that we can study it and engage further. Thank you.
Because of the non-oil taxation that are coming up. Secondly, I also want to commend you because you have decided to bring our taxation into one basket. But I want you to do more of the media place. So Nigerian people will be educated. Let it not be that you just wake up from your room and you want to increase taxes. So let people know that you want to reform the new taxation policies of Nigeria. Because when an organization is doing well, they also need to educate the public. Education is very important, communication to our people. Thirdly, I will like you, as you came today, to be prepared to come again before the public hearing, because you need to continue briefing this committee at all times, not just once, not twice, not 2 times, because it's our duty to protect Nigerian people and also protect you, who is doing the job. Our duty is to protect Nigerian people and also to protect the organization of federal revenue. So I will most encourage you to keep your doors open to come here again and again before public hearing, because we have not seen this bill. This bill was just read in the Senate possibly last Tuesday or Wednesday, and they have not even circulated the bill to any senator or the committee members. So it's so nice in the initiative of our chairman of the Senate committee and you that you decided to come and brief us, so we can douse out the controversy and know. Thirdly, this bill is not going to take anybody's job. It's not taking any job. Abia Revenue Commission will still be Abia, Lagos will still be Lagos, Ondo will still be Ondo, Oyo will still be Oyo, and Sokoto will still be Sokoto. So you are not taking anybody's job away. And I want to commend you and your team for what you will do. But know that this committee must be informed or briefed at every level till we get to public hearing. Please.
Senators.
On the modest performance of the service. And like I said, those ones were also alluded to enabling environments that the committee has given to us from the beginning in backing up what we've done. Just in summary, like the distinguished Senator and Governor Dixon has said, the tax reform is not and will not increase or introduce any taxes. If anything, because when we talk about harmonization, it actually reduced the number of taxes that will be paid, reduced the compliance cost by businesses, and also increased the simplicity and efficiency of tax administration in Nigeria. So the intention of Mr. President is to harmonize all the tax laws that we have and rates that we have, so that at the end of the day, Nigeria will be more competitive, and then we will reduce the burden of tax, whether on the citizen or on the corporation that we have here. So we are looking forward to working more with the committee, and then we know that in the couple of the days to come, there's a lot of work from us, both from the committee and from us. The commitment as Senator from the public Public Account Chairman said that I know that for the next few days, the Senate or the National Assembly will be my next office, because when we begin to go through clause by clause, that will always be available and will be forthcoming. But just to allay people's fear, no agency is being merged, no job is being taken away, and no additional taxes is being introduced. It is very clear. We just want to, it is not, when we say we want to modernize the Nigeria economy, we cannot rely on 1939 law of stamp duty to apply to us today. We cannot rely on the disjointed tax laws in different law books that we don't know which one to apply. So the intention of Mr. President is just to harmonize this so we can simplify taxes, and then Nigeria can be better for it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we've had enough from you now. I don't know, some new, we'll look at the bills, and then we will do the way we treated the PIA, whereby we looked at it on the basis of each of its importance. We are going to take it like that. And if need be that we have to harmonize all into one, we will still look at it and see, depending on how the presentations are made. And with this, I believe that Nigeria is now getting it right in the area of taxation. And I believe that when we strengthen it, we'll be able to make more revenue. And in return, we'll be able to have more developments, especially in our infrastructure, which we are in deficit at this moment. I must also commend FIRS first. When the chairman was given the chance to speak, he said they were able to meet up the target we have given. As a committee, when we set a target, it's not just enough. If you are going to add, do more, we expect, don't just stop at the target we give you. We expect that you exceed the target we have given to you. So we will want to see that you bring something more than what we have targeted for you at the end of the year. And with that, we'll be able to support the bills that you are presenting to give you more powers, so that you also look at the digital finances that, financial activities are happening digitally, so that you'll be able to take taxes from there as well. With this, I will call on my distinguished colleague to move for an adjournment. Have moved for adjournment, and Sadiq Umar from North Central have seconded it. This meeting has been moved. From Kwara North in the North Central Nigeria, have seconded this motion, and with that, we have adjourned this sitting sine die.
Good. You pull your mic. That's what we agree. You go to the phone.
Senator Dixon.
Are we set? The chairman, sir, tension was high during the briefing by the chairman of FIRS on the proposed taxes, tax reform, particularly from senators who believe that the proposed reforms will further bring hardship to Nigerians, particularly the investors, who are already facing serious hardship at the moment. So what are you telling Nigerians on the issue?
We've all heard from the executive chairman of FIRS on their proposed reform bills. And as far as I'm concerned, no senator has been given any of these bills yet. Until when we receive these bills, study them, and we'll be able to make the necessary comments. But be it as it may, the chairman have mentioned to us that no any increments in taxes on everyone, not only individuals but even companies. So that we agreed. I think what they try to do is just how to, make it strengthen the revenue base of the country, and also simplify the administration of taxes in Nigeria.
Are you sure? I mean, do you think Nigerians are better informed even before this?
We have highlighted it. My distinguished colleagues have highlighted it. There is need for FIRS to embark on serious enlightenment on these bills. And as far as we are concerned, we are representing Nigerians, and we will do whatever Nigerians desire us to do on these bills.
Sir, as a senator of the Federal Republic from Niger East, and somebody who is in touch with the people, do you think Nigerians can take more of these pills? People are already suffering.
I don't understand what pills you're talking about. We are talking about simplifying
these new taxes.
We are talking about simplifying taxes. No increase in any tax. No. Government have no intention in bringing in any new tax. Instead, the taxes that are existing should be simplified. So I don't see where the pills are.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Audio Jungle.